What's up, Mortgage Coach community? I am sitting down with Craig Davis. Craig, you are in Northern California right now, isn't that right?
That's right. Just kind of the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas.
Nice. That is such beautiful country, and I'm loving your new backyard, or at least some of the improvements you did to your backyard. Looks awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so Craig, I'm doing these interviews for the halftime report. We did about 25 interviews when we first created it, and now I'm doing a bunch of debrief, with people that have read it. Hey, what was your number one takeaway? Trying to get more leadership and more value for the industry. I do think this is a market where different companies, different loan officers, different leaders are navigating this storm at different levels. I have talked to everybody who's anywhere from 70% down to, flat. And so I think we can learn from each other. So before I start drilling you with questions, just let everybody know who you are, how long you've been in the business, a little bit about your current role, and then I've got a few questions for you.
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate and respect everything you're doing, man. You've been a huge champion for the industry, and I think all that serve within it. And so I'm honored to be here. Yeah, so my name's Craig Davis. I mean, I've been in the biz for 20 years. I cut my teeth in the wholesale world. And I've been with Finance of America Mortgage now for 14 years, and I run production for the West Coast. And what I like to say is I'm in the business of running the business of production and within the mortgage company itself. So very attuned to working with our loan officers, our branch leaders, leadership of the company, industry impacts, and all that other stuff. So I love what I do. I love being a leader. I love the mindset of leadership and working within this business. And this is certainly probably one of the toughest times, in all of our job settings right now. So I love being a part of it with everybody. We're stronger together than we are by ourselves. And this tests, I think, all of our skill sets and sort of fortitude. So.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's definitely a shift, a seismic shift in the industry in terms of the amount of production that's gone away by rising interest rates. How many loan officers or branches, however you kind of measure the folks in your team, how many loan officers or, folks in your division?
Yeah, I mean, under my sort of division is there, I've probably got call it about 350 loan officers or so, across probably about 50 branches.
Okay. So a lot of people that you're responsible for and navigating this. So you read the halftime report. What are a couple of the, whether it's a top takeaway or a recommendation, something you took from that you think is important to focus on? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I love the halftime report. There's sobering information in there, obviously, with our market realities, and we have to accept that rising interest rates, values, I think the shift in the market. I mean, all these different things, and I try not to get caught up so much in the market shift because the market is the market. What I really try to focus on, if you're extrapolating out of that halftime report, is the necessity of the originator and the demand upon the originator to meet the consumer where the consumer is, I don't think has changed. I think we got away from it perhaps during the refi boom, over the last couple of years, and I get it. We have to serve those needs. But the responsibility of, I think, using technology to both deepen and widen our relationships, I'm a huge advocate of being the liability advisor, right? I mean, we've been talking about this for years, right? And certainly being relational, not transactional, and really pushing the skill set and using the technology and the technology stack to better our presentation for our consumer base out there, our customers, is ever more important right now. And I think where the market challenges us the most right now is it's more imperative to be relational more than ever right now. But we're all fighting for every deal out there, and I think it does push us to be more transactional. So you've got a sort of a dichotomy of, how to act, within it. And it's tough. I mean, everybody is certainly facing the challenges, but we see winners winning. And, and I think those that stayed to their best practices continue to, and, look, this is a survive to succeed, but there's still people thriving right now. And so that's what, like you're doing, that's what I'm doing. We're trying to glean what it is they're doing to succeed. And that's being active. It's using the technologies. It's using their best practices. It's using Mortgage Coach and having that presentation. It's paying attention to borrower needs, right? Not just your own needs and what you know, but really, are you asking the did you know questions? Are you using the presentation of Mortgage Coach to help facilitate more opportunities within the borrower scenario that you may not otherwise be seeing or recognizing or thinking of, because you're not using the tool that helps facilitate that conversation or awareness or visibility within the borrower needs, right?
So one of my takeaways, it hit me probably about halfway through my interviews, but that, it's very clear, data matters, what you measure improves, and the industry for many years, it still does. And I'm not recommending we take a difference, but, it obsesses over how many loans did you close and what is your volume. But in a market like this, I think it's more important than ever that we really obsess and measure conversion. Credit reports run versus loans closed. Not all loan officers are equal. And profitability, when it comes to the amount of basis points that loan officers close, some are better than others. I know, Jason Nutzman on your team has done a number of studies showing that a Mortgage Coach loan officer, I think it was like 1 year, it was 9 basis points more profitable. Another year, it was 11. We've actually had a number of lenders come in that, hey, Mortgage Coach loan officers are like 34% more profitable. So one thing I'm advocating for is that at the enterprise level, we're measuring conversion, we're measuring profitability per loan officer, and we're scorecarding it, and we're sharing it. What are your thoughts on that? And, is that something that, as a leader of a big sales force, you advocate for? Any thoughts you have there?
Yeah, 100%. And Jason Nutzman, had the foresight certainly years ago to really start measuring that. So we are measuring the same right now. And I apologize, I don't have our specific stats because we're starting to measure that. But what I do know is that, like, if we look at our top loan officers within the company, the trends in those top, loan officers is that they are Mortgage Coach users. And those that are Mortgage Coach users, we also know they concede less per loan, i.e. profitability per loan is there, which is good for the loan officer, good for the branch, good for the company, allows us to reinvest, where it matters. We also know those that use a Mortgage Coach, for example, like I said, they're uncovering more opportunities within their borrower base, which creates more opportunities because, mortgage lending isn't a one and done scenario, right? And so we have to be thinking long term. So we know we have more life of loan, more lifetime customer value with those loan officers that use a Mortgage Coach, for example. So we're really trying to extract all those best practices specifically with Mortgage Coach users because we know that facilitates a better experience. We know that we can see that there's less stress on the system with Mortgage Coach users. There's less rushes, right? I mean, so they're setting expectations. It's a conduit to have, I think, deeper conversations, more relational conversations, setting expectations, and looking at the presentation from a borrower need standpoint, not just a rate standpoint. And we have tons of examples about how Mortgage Coach, again, keeping on that example, has saved a loan, has bettered a borrower situation that couldn't have been seen otherwise. Pay off debt here, lower down payment, maybe the rate goes up, but you lower your overall picture here because you paid off debt, using buy downs, whatever those cases are, winning against maybe some of the consumer direct, people out there where there's huge, price deltas, so it's really fascinating and it's gratifying to see those who are using it and the winners are winning, by using that.
No doubt. I did an interview a couple of hours ago. It will actually be in our YouTube channel by the end of the day today. And it was a loan officer that sent me an email actually this morning. Now that my full-time job is chief innovation officer, I'm running a newsroom for Mortgage Coach where I have more resources than ever. And I'm just like, literally it went from, hey, he told me a success story to I'm interviewing him today. And a sales boomerang alert, let him know that, hey, we've got to buy a past customer who's looking to transact. They had actually already applied with someone else. He did a total cost analysis and totally changed the loan that they were going to do. And really the consumer wanted to build wealth with real estate. And so, he won the deal from a bank. And then he's going to be doing 2 more loans this year. And he got an intro to their financial planner and their CPA. And he's already had the CPA loved it, the TCA. And so, and sidebar, the wife is becoming a realtor. So it's like,
Yeah.
Technology gives alert, Mortgage Coach gives advice and strategy, and now a little simple database lead. And we're talking, just within the past week becomes multiple transactions. So I think, that's what we need to do. Any ideas on how we can all do better at getting, because one thing I said, well, hey, Drake, you've done 1,000 TCAs, and you're also one of the loan officers that when they get the alert, you make the calls. And it really, I think it is that simple. If we get loan officers to be advisors, Mortgage Coach strategists, and we can get them to make the calls when they get the alerts, like it could be game changing. Any advice you have, leaders that are managing loan officers, or I'm sure some of your own loan officers and leaders are going to watch this. Any feedback or suggestions you have to everybody?
I mean, carrot, stick, right? Inspire, mandate. And it's hard, right? Because I think loan officers by trade, I mean, we're entrepreneurial. And so you can certainly take the accountability side. Hey, before I offer a concession or before it goes into processing, I'm demanding that you turn in a TCA report, right? We have people that do that to create accountability, best practices. We have a lot of guys that do boot camps. And so we do a lot of trainings, we inspire with stories, we show the benefit, all those different things to try to, there's push and then there's pull. Something I'm working on right now with our National Opportunities Manager, Tim Rowan, who you know very well, is
Well, Tim. Thank you, Tim. If you're watching
really
this, you do a great job of advocating and teaching people to use Mortgage Coach and Boomerang.
Well, and that's why I promoted Tim to be our National Opportunities Manager, because he's so good at that. So we're it's funny, I'll just say it right here. I'm calling it Project Cowbell, because I've already nicknamed Tim Cowbell, because we need more cowbell. We need more Tim out there doing these. And what he's doing is he's going throughout our branch networks and he's inspiring and training. So he's really has the right narrative of here's why it matters. Here's the testimonials. Here's how I use Mortgage Coach. So Mortgage Coach isn't just a tangible sort of you do it here. It's more, no, here's why and how it helps, because you've got to build it into your narrative, right? I always say, like, our product is the experience. The byproduct is the loan or whatever product we're doing.
Time out. I want to insert something. I want everybody to get that. Like, I think that right there, we need to go from selling, our product, which is our rates and our fees, to the problems we solve and to rethink of our product as the overall experience. So sorry, I want to just make sure everybody caught that. And I love that you're doing it. Of course, I'm sure that's why you guys have added Mortgage Coach and invested in Sales Boomerang, but keep going. That was just such an important call out for the industry.
No, I appreciate that. It's one of my favorite statements to make. So, I mean, our product is the experience, right? And so I've got, Tim and our team underneath him, our training team, some marketing people, really trying to row in the same direction and enhancing the experience. I think that's the narrative that we're trying to educate all of our originators. And here's, like I said, here's the inspiration. Here's how, by using this at this point in the transaction, accomplish this. And to your point earlier, then the ripple effect that stemmed off of that may not have happened. So we got to kind of win hearts and minds, not just address it in a do this, then for this reason. nobody wants to be told what to do. We want to appeal to the emotion and the inspiration. So I've really got Tim working on that because, like I said, he's one of our best advocates and users, of the product, and some of our other, using BombBomb for video. We've got to connect with people with video. We need that human connection that maybe we've lost a little bit, after, our COVID times and that sort of thing. And video, look, I was out to dinner with a bunch of managers last night, people I haven't seen in over a year. And it didn't feel like I hadn't seen them in over a year because I see them on Zoom, you know what I mean? So
right.
We need that human connection, video. So diverging a little bit there, but the point being is, ideally, if we can win hearts and minds and present the narrative, show the best practices, show the win, we can pull people along with us. And let's add a little accountability on the side, like I was saying earlier, boot camps, trainings, how-tos, follow-ups. Require it when you turn it into processing, those sort of things. Commit to it. Get people to commit to it. Yes, I am committed. For 30 days, I will do a TCA on every opportunity I have. Win it in small doses, which will lead to the bigger stuff, right? Compound effect, that sort of thing.
Love it. So I've got a couple more questions. I'm going to show the halftime report real quick because I just want to go through it. Just remind anybody, it's on our Mortgage Coach blog. If you go to resources blog, and now as Chief Innovation Officer, this is one of my most important content places. I mean, our YouTube channel's number one, our Facebook group number two, and then our blog is where I am taking content, trying to make it more useful, more digestible. This one's a bomb. I mean, it's very comprehensive. I mean, it's the biggest piece of content I've ever been involved with. But, I'm just scrolling down. These are all data and insights, just the brutal reality. And then, of course, the untapped equity America. It's a huge opportunity, not a brutal reality, but a positive thing. And then there's some trends, the digital shift that's happening, which is obvious to all of us. The move to a hybrid market, and then I get into opportunities. And so the bigger opportunity is big data. Now you guys have been really smart. You invest in a great CRM, Total Expert. You invest in best of breed data platforms. Boomerang, you're always working to automate. I do think here's the question. So what you're seeing right there is Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang, how we're starting to automate the digital presentation so that we can anticipate from a data perspective when someone is likely to need a loan, and then we're able to put a presentation there. Now, right now it's a pretty lightweight, we're just saving some double entry, but we're going to evolve that to where it's something more. I have asked a number of executives, I personally am trying to make it so that by 2025, half of lenders and loan officers have borrower intelligence. Like, it's essential. I think it's going to be the haves and have-nots, and the haves are just going to be taking market share from those that don't, if they don't have big data and not leveraging it. But here's the question. What's your take? Is it going to be 50-50? Is it going to be 30% have it and 70% don't? Is it going to be 70? Like, the industry, you know how they have embraced technology. By 2025 or 2027, what percentage of lenders do you think we need borrower intelligence? We need to know what consumers are doing, and we need to be able to anticipate that with automation and with our, sales force.
I mean, 80% plus, right?
We'll have
I don't think I can say 100 because it's not 100. I think they're going to have it because look, data has been the golden nugget in any industry for a long time, right? It's just a massive thing. And what do you do with the data? And it's hard to digest, right? And so the science is getting the data. The art is doing something with the data, which continues to get more intelligent with AI, with tools like a Sales Boomerang, with other tools out there about how do we create predictive behavior? I mean, all these different things. The thing is, though, if we're not doing it, somebody else is, and they're getting to our clients faster. So we have to also be adjusting and be going through that process so we can also stay in front of our clients which is such a great tool, with Sales Boomerang. And one of our favorite testimonials when we first started implementing Sales Boomerang, oh, my client would never leave me. I've done 10 transactions with them. I always have the first shot. And then the first thing that happens is there's a mortgage inquiry alert that they've gone somewhere else. And so it's just, this is the world we live in and the world where it's going. And data is going to get us information, and then our experience that we provide, because some of the lenders out there, right, the bigger banks, maybe the call center, lead aggregator, sort of providers, they're transactional. We win relational, right? They can never beat us on the relational part. It's certainly challenging. I'm not saying it's not, but that goes back into using the right tools to A, we have the data to get there, and B, we can win it to the best of our abilities with our relational skill sets and whatnot.
Well, any executive watching this, if you do not have, Sales Boomerang and Borrower Intelligence, you need it. I actually interviewed a top loan officer who did 100 million last year, yesterday, and I was asking him for scripting because he's using the fact that he's got a CRM powered with Sales Boomerang, and it's also powered with digital presentation to get realtors databases, and he's like, his scripting was, hey, realtor, you need to think of data like billionaires think of data, like Amazon thinks of data, like Zillow thinks of data. And you need to, and to do that, give me your database and I will manage that data and I will get more people that want to list their home out of it. Cash out refis can become move up analysis. So, okay. So here's another question. By the way, the top recommendations were be the captain of the wealth team, lead with education, and then you already said it, but we need to use video to connect at scale. And one of the TCAs I included, this is the number one team with Fairway, Ruth and her team. They did about 390 million. Nicole did about 390 million last year. And she's still on track. She thinks she still has a chance to do 400 million this year. So I mean, she's doing really well. And one of the things that she did, if you click this link right here, guys, you'll see that she's teaching the seller buy down, and she's putting in a 2-1 buy down, a permanent buy down, and a price reduction. And she made this for real estate agents. So she's using Mortgage Coach. It's a strategy that's helping listing agents and buyers agents. She emailed it to both of them. She has got it all over social media. What are your thoughts on that strategy? Because I personally think that should be a requirement. If you're a loan officer and you want to survive this market, you need to be a master at having buy down conversations. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, look, again, absolutely, right? And you have seasonality of various opportunities like buy down, right? I mean, buy down didn't really matter 6 months ago or 8 months ago, maybe not as much, right? But it matters now. And what I love that she's doing is, look, she's not a loan officer, right? She's putting herself out there as an expert, a teacher, a consultant. She's guiding. And if you're a referral partner, a realtor, a financial planner, whomever, and you see that, don't you want your consumer to be a part of that scenario, that that you have someone on the back end of that's looking at these various options that you may not otherwise recognize without the tool like a Mortgage Coach, that presents that and understands that. And so that's why she's wildly successful. She's putting herself out there. And I think that's where a lot of our, I want to say liability advisors or equity advisors, whatever fancy word, we, want to sort of coin, but that's where we got to get out there and we got to get uncomfortable. And that's difficult, but we got to get uncomfortable. But the thing is though, she probably feels confident and excited to put that out there. I know I get excited if I have something to say and put a post out there. All right, what do people think, right? So I think that's an awesome opportunity.
Well, hey man, I know you committed to a half hour. I want to make sure I honor your time. Thank you so much for jumping into the Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang community to bring your wisdom, bring your leadership. Thank you for always being an advocate of we have the same, borrower, no borrower left behind, but no loan officer left behind. Like, how do we help every loan officer get the technology they need to thrive, bring the education? So always appreciate you, brother, and would love to do more calls if you want to. I am helping a lot of companies use the combination of boomerang alerts with TCAs to get realtors databases. If you want any help with your team over there, let's create some content together, bro.
I love it, man. I love it. And I appreciate you having me on. I love these conversations, and, let's win, let's lead with mindset, and I appreciate that you pulled that earlier. Look, our product is the experience. So let's go have some fun. This business can be too rough. Like, let's have some fun, keep it light. So.
Yeah. And I know he's just said your product is your experience. And I know everybody's like, I know, of course, but loan officers, I want you to really audit the last two borrower conversations you had, your value proposition. And I'm telling you, most loan officers, their rate, their payment, their closing cost, the promise of how fast they can close it, things that are really commodities. Like, if you can't close loans on time, if you don't keep your promises at scale, if you don't have competitive rates and fees, those are table stakes. Guys, that's not your product. Those are parts of your product, but it's the total cost analysis. It's making a promise to a consumer that I'm going to monitor your mortgage. I'm going to manage your mortgage. And I have this business intelligence platform that's monitoring, tell them that, hey, I'm monitoring everything, so that when it's time for you to move up, if you need help, I'm going to proactively reach out to you. Guys, the promises you make need to go beyond the transaction. So, bro, have a great day. Appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Everybody, if you got
Appreciate
value,
it.
give it a like. Give it a like down below. Share it with your leadership and your mortgage friends. And this is a wrap. Take care, everybody.